Hey everyone, the numbers are in for Hidden Dunes for 2022. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. In this video, I want to just briefly take a look at what happened in 2022 so we can figure out what's going on or make some projections of where prices may head into 2023. So a couple things really quick to help us understand what happened last year. This chart is a chart of showings from a company called Showing Time. This shows us how much people were at. This is a great way to understand demand. It's a good way to see how many people were actually getting out and looking at real estate in 2022. 2022 is represented by the orange line, and you can see through most of March, we were showing about as much real estate as we had been the previous 2 years, and then you really started to see it fall off. Obviously, there are a number of reasons why that happened, but you can see ultimately there was just so much less demand in the market. One thing I think is interesting is that we're always off a little bit around Thanksgiving, but we pick up a little bit right towards the end of the year. So I looked at mortgage applications towards the end of the year. I went back to August. This chart you're looking at here is from the Mortgage Bankers Association of America. And I organized it from August 5th to January 5th. One of the things I found most interesting is their purchase index at the end of October, right here is 160.5. It actually moved up about 12 or 13% to 182.5 by the end of the year. Now, plenty of condo purchases are still done with cash, but I thought this gave us another look at what's going on in the housing market generally, that, wow, 12 or 13% more mortgage applications towards the end of the year, especially a time when it can sometimes be quiet. So I thought that was an encouraging thing for the market. 2022 was very much a tale of 2 years for two halves for the condo market. The first half of the year was extremely intense. The second half was quite a bit slower. For the entire year, we had 12% fewer condos up for sale. We had 35% fewer contracts written on condos. We had 30% fewer sales, which is a pretty big number when you think about it in terms of when you're relating things. If numbers were down 2% or 4% or up 5%, that would be one thing. But we sold 30% fewer condos in 2022 than we did the year before. Sold volume, we were down 11%. And the reason there's a discrepancy there is that the average sales price went up 27%. Now, most of that was early in the year, but that's one way to look at price appreciation. One of the most important things on this chart to understand about the overall condo market, look at the red line represents the number of condos for sale, and the black line represents the number of actual closings. In November, December, January, February, March, we sold more condos than we had even condos being offered for sale. That's how intense the market was. And remember my months of inventory barometer. Remember, 4 or 5 months of inventory represents a neutral market. It takes us about 4 or 5 months to normally work through the process of selling real estate. Back in January, we were selling condos, working through the entire process in half of a month. Still in June, it was only taking us 2 months for an owner to call real estate office, photos, videos, marketing, showings, contract negotiations, closing. Still only taking us 2 months. We slowed down quite a bit through the summer. We got to 8.2 months in November, which is very much a buyer's market. The reason I obsess over this number, it can show us a lot about where prices are headed. The longer we sit over 6-7 months of inventory, there has to be pressure on pricing. It just means that there's so much more supply in the market and not so much demand. But things got much better in December. We got back down to 4.26 months of inventory. Fair amount of closings, not a ton of new listings. So we're sitting right now at about a neutral market, not near as hot as we were early in the year, but 4.26 doesn't put really any pressure on pricing down. If anything, we should be staying about flat in pricing. Very quickly, a recap of last year. We sold Unit 802 at Hidden Dunes for $880,000 January 7th. 804 sold for $900,000 and January 11th. I believe we were on this one. We also helped the owners on this one, $1,020,000. We were set the mark for the first one over $1 million in a very long time. That was in February. Another sale at $950,000 in March, and another $1 million plus sale in August. Currently, Hidden Dunes, there are not a lot of condo sales, so it's hard to track the months of inventory number in there. But one thing that's encouraging if you're thinking about selling, and there are only 2 units for sale. Both of those are 05 units on the end of the building. So if you're an interior unit, you probably have some advantages of making your own market. Obviously, you would be priced accordingly, but not a lot of units for sale in Hidden Dunes. So that's an encouraging thing. A couple of takeaways on where prices may be headed. If you've probably heard, plenty of experts are at least talking about that we may see price depreciation in the housing market for the first time in a very long time, probably over a decade. I think it's possible that if we subscribe to that, then the highest prices in condos we will see will be right now in January. I don't see anything yet in the overall GoFront market putting extreme price pressure downwards. At 4.26 months of inventory, that's very, very neutral, very balanced. As long as sellers can be a little patient, that isn't anything terribly concerning. If we move up to 5, 6, 7 months of inventory and stay there for a little while, things could be different. One thing to think about timing, if you're thinking about selling in 2023, plenty of people like to take advantage of the spring market, but for whatever reason, I see it year over year over year, they don't start the process until March or April. It can take us some time to do this right and put, to call a professional photographer, videographer, build the websites, get a good weather day, have all that come together, edit the photos and the videos. When everything goes perfect, I can get that done in 5 to 7 days. Sometimes it can take upwards of 2 weeks, depending on when the unit's available, when the photographer's available, if the weather cooperates, all of that. So remember, it can take a little time to properly put something up for sale. And again, if plenty of people come to the market in March and April, there's a rush of supply. Getting ahead of that can be an extremely beneficial thing if you're really trying to sell, especially if there's the potential for price depreciation this year. Again, at the moment, I see prices holding flat. I'm very curious to see what will happen over the next 30 to 60 days. Do we have a rush of people putting units up for sale, trying to take advantage of the appreciation from last year? Or do we see a balance of units coming up for sale and people making purchases? We've had a pretty good 2 months. That little uptick we saw in showings, 2 weeks, little uptick we saw in showings at the end of the year. It was pretty good. We've had some activity. It's not gangbusters like it was at the beginning of last year, but there are some things happening. So keep all that in mind. You probably are already signed up for our e-alert service where you get notified anytime something happens in Hidden Dunes. If you don't and you would like to be on that, or really for any building or neighborhood in Panama City Beach, let me know. My number is 850-527-0221. And again, feel free. I know there are a lot of questions about the market this year. The last couple of years, it's been easy in a way because it's really just been straight appreciation. Different neighborhoods and different condo projects are going to sort of are likely to move a little different this year. If you have any questions and you just want to strategize about your real estate holdings, or you're looking to make decisions, should I buy now, should I sell later, whatever it is, feel free to call. You don't have to be ready to hire us to do something or interview us. We're happy to talk and strategize to help you make a better decision in real estate. So I hope that's helpful. We're going to really spend a lot of time on the numbers every month. If you're already on our distribution list, you'll get this via email. YouTube's also a good place to put it. We'll put all these videos there. If you want to be on the distribution list, let us know. And we'll talk to you in February with some updated market numbers. Thanks for watching.